Tonight, gas price gouge. Why the cost to fill up your tank has been the same on both sides of the border. Plus,
our view for 2017 is probably a little less optimistic than you're finding in most of the other commentary.
Today's guest speaker at the Rotary Club meeting talked economic outlook for this year and how 2 new businesses are finding their feet after opening later in 2016.
This is Newcap News with Nicole Stilger.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Drivers in Lloydminster are paying the same price at the pump no matter which side of the border they're on, even with a contentious carbon tax in effect. There's concern from community officials over inconsistent prices, but if there's no major impact on the consumer, who's taking the hit? Adam Macvicker finds out.
If you are a Saskatchewan retailer, you are smiling, or at least making 2.5 cents a litre to cover some of your costs.
It seems Saskatchewan-side gas stations are reaping the so-called Alberta advantage by taking advantage of the provincial carbon tax.
2.5 cents a litre is nothing to sneeze at. It's actually a pretty significant advantage. So you can see a circumstance where retailers on the Saskatchewan side will do very well, while those on the Alberta side could potentially go bankrupt.
Alberta stations have long been paying 13 cents per litre in taxes, while their Saskatchewan counterparts paid 15 cents, but the Saskatchewan government covered that 2 cent per litre difference. Since January 1st, that subsidy has been waived, so Sask side dealers are paying the full 15 cents, while Alberta side dealers pay 17.5 cents per litre. But prices have remained virtually identical, which has consumers wondering why.
Alberta gas retailers who may be down 2.5 cents a litre and are going to keep a brave face and maintain the prices consistent with the Saskatchewan retailers.
The inconsistency is raising concern with local officials.
We've always fought to keep Lloydminster as a single seamless city. And whenever there's regulation or taxation from the 2 provinces that creates an inequity between the 2 halves of the city, we've worked hard to make sure that both sides of our city are treated, basically the same.
The Chamber of Commerce is already taking steps to do just that, similar to when the Saskatchewan government waived the PST in Lloydminster in 2001.
We are looking for and recommending that they make an exemption of Lloydminster as far as a carbon tax goes.
The Chamber is now waiting for a response from the Alberta government after sending a request for exemption on December 15th. In a statement to Newcap News, the press secretary to Environment Minister Shannon Phillips says discussions are ongoing with a federal price on carbon coming in 2018. Newcap News reached out to various gas station owners on both sides of the 4th Meridian. Many directed us to their corporate communications line, while others refused to return our calls. Reporting on the carbon tax, Adam Macvicker, Newcap News.
Well, when it comes to Alberta's economic future, 2017 is going to be a year of slow but steady progress. This from Synergy Credit Union's Chief Financial Officer Ian Glassford, who is in the border city this afternoon, giving the union's forecast of the year.
Our view for 2017 is probably a little less optimistic than you're finding in most of the other commentary. But that doesn't mean we're pessimistic on Alberta. It's just we think it's going to take a bit longer for Alberta to find its feet.
But Glassford believes as we head into 2018, the economy will start to pick up speed and go through the same upswing it saw in the 80s. When it comes to commodity prices, Glassford says he really doesn't know what will happen this year, but there's one area the credit union is confident about.
That through 17, the Bank of Canada won't hike rates, which means if we're right, you're not going to see prime going up or anything like that. You might see your rates in the 5-year range ticking up as the market starts seeing a stronger economy, but we're not expecting a huge increase in rates, and we're not expecting any change at all in the Bank of Canada rates.
Glassford adds that Lloydminster's economic downswing is due to it being overbuilt before the drop in the price of oil, but it should share the same growth which has been predicted for the province at the end of this year. A local artist is showcasing a unique art piece in support of the Lloydminster Sexual Assault and Information Centre in an effort to demonstrate the importance it has in the community. Chantal Germo reports.
Brandy Hofer, a local artist, began an art series called Cool Kids Incidentity. This series was inspired by pop culture, social media, and the struggle of identity in today's society. In her artwork, she includes faces of some locals, but one particular piece that didn't quite fit the series started a whole different campaign.
I started like Lady Gaga, for example. It turned out more, she's an empowering figure. So it didn't quite maybe fit because she's just such a strong person and advocate for so many things.
The Training and Development Director at the Lloydminster Sexual Assault Centre purchased the Lady Gaga print because of the positive support Lady Gaga has for sexual violence survivors. With that in mind, Brandy decided to take her Lady Gaga print a step forward. All of the funds from the print pieces will be donated to the Lloydminster Sexual Assault and Information Centre to raise awareness and support of the centre itself and the survivors in the community.
So keeping the topic of sexual violence at the forefront of people's minds, keeping the conversation going, engaging community members in unique ways. So this is an artistic way to say, hey, this is supporting survivors of sexual violence, and you get to hang it up and talk about it at home and, yeah, do something good.
The purpose of the campaign is obviously to mostly raise awareness, and hopefully people will follow in the community and supporting the center. It's such a great place, and it has a vast variety of counseling and education. We're really lucky with a large surrounding community as well to have such a place that people can go to.
All of the Cool Kids prints on paper, including the Lady Gaga piece, are available on her website at brandyhofer.ca. Chantel Germo, Newcap News.
Well, if Lloydminster has one legacy, it's that winters are always freezing cold. In this week's edition of Retrospect, Gina Martin takes us back to 1997, where too much snow almost caused a problem at Bud Miller Park.
I've been here 6 years and we've never had this much of a problem.
The cold weather has not been good for Bud Miller Lake. With the freezing temperatures has come snow. That's insulating the ice and preventing it from thickening properly. Part of the surface has been cleared, however, about 3/4 of the lake remains covered with the white stuff.
We're into a bit of a bind, and the way it's going, if we don't get that snow off, it's not going to freeze.
The ice is about 2 feet thick where the snow has been cleared. However, it's only 1 foot thick beneath the snow, about 6 inches too thin for heavy snow removal equipment. So the city is asking local residents to bring out their snowblowers and shovels and lend a hand.
We'd really like to get about 50 or more volunteers out there. We'd accept 10 to 20 if we could.
In recent years, it still has been chilling to the bone in Lloydminster, with frost covering every branch, but the snow not covering the ice. And it's just one of many rinks the city has to offer, with 8 in total. The only problem there is now for many is that it's too cold outside to go skating. That's all for Retrospect this week. I'm Gina Martin.
This is Newcap Sports.
Well, everybody's dealt with a relationship where the person you're with can have what feels like split personality. One day they're downright nasty, and the next, the most amazing person. It can leave you looking for answers. That was exactly the case this past weekend at the Civic, except the Bobcats had the split personality and Drayton Valley's looking for answers. The possible answer could be a Bobcats trade. Lance Phillips has more.
What a difference a day makes. Friday, the Bobcats looked like a team short of any life in a 6-3 loss to Drayton Valley, and Saturday's 4-2 win, a complete turnaround.
2 weeks off. We came out a little slow yesterday. I think that was more of the difference. But, tonight we had a meeting this morning and we kind of got it together in the dressing room. So I think that was pretty big for us today.
We're ready to play. Coaching staff maybe as well. We were ready. We were focused. We had meetings this morning, went over stuff, and biggest thing we preached to them was just to compete, right? And they did tonight.
All the guys were into it today. We came out there. We knew we had to win. It was a must-win. We were chasing these guys for playoff spots, so we knew it was a must-win tonight.
It's not very often you can attribute a team's success to one person, but that was exactly the case for the Bobcats on Saturday. Their newest acquisition, fresh from Whitecourt, Rob Johnson paid instant dividends, scoring the team's first goal and setting up the winner in the third period. He developed instant chemistry with his line mates, and it bodes incredibly well for a team not only trying to make the playoffs, but looking for that X factor.
I was excited for the new opportunity here. I've heard that the Bobcats have been having a little bit of struggle. They're struggling a little bit, but I don't know. I was really excited to come here and just try and make a difference.
You know, his speed, he drove pucks wide and just, you know, opened up the game so much, you know, for his line mates like Webb and Braid. And, you know, he's an exciting player to watch, and hopefully there's more good things to come from him.
So how do three players develop such harmony without ever playing a game together?
He fit in real well. We had chemistry going all night. We had a lot of opportunities, and he's a fast skater. You know, Webb is too, and I like to think I am too. So I think just the speed in general, we were getting down ice pretty quick, creating opportunities.
Well, Weber and Braid, they just, I don't know, the first time we met them, it was just off ice, and I don't know, we got along very well. I mean, we just, I don't know, it just connected for sure. Like, I couldn't explain it. It was just something special there for sure.
After the game, Clayton wouldn't stop smiling. And despite it being the team's 9th win, his pride in the players was evident.
These guys all year have worked their butts off. In practices, in games, I don't question it one bit. And, you know, it's easy for a coach to still come to the rink when guys are still committed, wanting to get better, and that group in there are like that.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.
Well, Lakeland College basketball played its first games of 2017 this past weekend, and the women's side is dealing with a shortened bench, but the influx of a much-needed player should help them out. Lance Phillips with more.
With the loss of Romanolin Inocencio and Brooklyn Bertoya, the Lakeland Rustlers women's basketball team was in need of another body, and they got it in the form of Anna Mabui. The third-year Calgary native played in her first 2 games of the season after missing the first semester due to academic reasons. She had 9 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 steals off the bench in the Rustlers' 50-26 win over the Eagles Friday.
I felt really good. It was awesome to be back. I felt we had really good team chemistry on the floor, and I definitely think that if we continue to play cohesively like this, I think we'll be good this semester.
For me as a coach, you could see the things that she brings, being big and athletic. She guarded posts, she guarded guards. She made 3 or 4 steals in the open court. So it's exciting for us. She just needs to calm down a little bit for next game, and hopefully she keeps getting better.
Mabui's size is a welcome addition to the smaller Lakeland squad, and she's happy to be playing instead of watching.
It's hard. I just sit there and bite my nails, and I wish I could be out there to help them, but I'm just glad that I'm back this semester and I can definitely do that.
On Saturday, Mabui finished with a team-high 16 points and 7 rebounds in Lakeland's 45-44 loss at Kings. Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports, Lloydminster.
Though rollerblading has long been a form of exercise, the competitive nature of it has been growing in Lloydminster for the last several years. The Border City Roller Derby League held an information session Sunday to get new people interested in the sport, and despite it being a game of checking and diving, they say it's more fun than scary.
You know, it takes them a bit, I think, to get used to the skating aspect of it. A lot of us, when we started, I know myself, to start, like I never knew how to skate. So I think with that, it's quite different.
And it's not just for adults either. In fact, the league is seeing an increase in the amount of youth interested in junior roller derby.
Ages go from 7 to 17. There's 3 levels of junior roller derby. Everybody will start out at 1 and move their way up from there. And it's competitive, and it's good for kids to get together and play together.
Registration takes place on January 17th, and if you're interested in watching roller derby, the season gets underway in April. More information can be found on their Facebook page.